Hi, this is Joanna, and this video is about attachments and how to release attachments. So it's really interesting talking to people about attachments. There's a lot of people who say attachments are great and good. If you talk to Jason Silva, he is all about attachments. I love that guy. Um, and you know what? I used to agree. I used to agree. I used to think that attachment was love. Like if you're attached to somebody, that means love, and the more attached you are, um, the more you love them. But what I found is when you're really attached to someone or something, um, it's painful. It's so here's what happens. So it feels really great for a while, and then it turns really painful. And I've done trial and error on this a bunch of times just because, let's try it. Let's try it again. Let's try it again. Attachment. So here's what happens when we attach to, let's say to someone, because you can also attach to things and stories and, beliefs or whatever. But to make it easy, let's say we're attaching to a person. So here's a person, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is the best person, whole land. I'm just gonna attach, like, I'm going for it. I'm attaching to them, and I'm just gonna like go for it and love them and like, okay, so awesome. So you guys exchange energy back and forth, and you go really deep, and you merge souls together, and it feels like you're one person, and you have this transcendence of the bodies where you feel like you're God and you feel you're one with divinity, and it feels like nothing else on the planet. Awesome. Love it. One of my favorite feelings in the whole wide world. Love it. So addicting. So very addicting for that reason, because it's like you're with God. It's like you are divinity and you are love, and there's no body, and it's absolutely divine. So what happens when we've decided that it's that other person that makes us feel that way? And the only way we're going to feel that way is if we're with another person. And that specific person is the one that is going to take me there. So not only do they have to like stick around me and allow me to have access to that energy 24/7, but they have to live a life that I want them to live, because now they're kind of a part of me, but outside of me. Does any of this sound familiar? I've done this so many times. And so it it sounds kind of romantic, and yet that other person has a life and a destiny all their own, and they just can't sit around waiting, or doing what you want. They might be able to do what you want for a while, maybe even years, maybe. But eventually, they're going to be like, wait a minute, I thought that I had a destiny, and I thought that I was more than just you know, an energetic connection for this other person. Like, I thought I had my own things going on. So herein lies the gift of non-attachment. So when we have these interactions with people and we merge with them and we connect with them and have these amazing transcendent interactions, awesome. After they're over, and I really can't give you a specific time of when to do this, because probably not right after that experience, but you can wait till like the next day or something. During your morning meditations, and if you don't have one, get one because they're fun. You want to release the cords to them and release your attachment to them. Give them their energy back and take your energy back. Okay, so what this does is it creates space between you and that other person and allows you to have your own connection to divinity, and it allows them to feel a sense of space from you and have their own connection. So what happens when we're in relationship is sometimes when we merge with people, our energy is saturating their space and their energy is saturating our space. And it feels really great and really wonderful. But what happens is we're not able to access our own energy because there's somebody else's energy there in our space. And then later on down the road, if something's going wrong or we need access to our own energy, we look inside and we see that other person like waving at us because there's their energy. And then we tend to blame them for the reason why we feel bad or things are going wrong or whatever. And it's not necessarily their fault. It's just like leftover residue from awesome, happy, fun times. So what you do in that situation is you just imagine their energy inside of you and you want to breathe it back. So you imagine breathing all of their energy back to them in peace and love, and you relax into it and you just breathe it back in love. And then you imagine them and the energy of you that's inside of them, and you want to just imagine it's coming all back to you as you breathe in. So I imagine as I'm breathing their energy out, it's through my mouth. And as I'm breathing my energy, it's back through my nose. And it kind of comes in and comes down into my body. So breathing their energy out. And then breathing me back in. And you can tell when you're done exchanging this energy, when you no longer see them in your space. You no longer see them or feel them in your space. And at the beginning, people get a little freaked out because they're like, oh my God, like I don't want to disconnect from them and then I'll lose them forever. The sure way to lose someone, because I've done this a million times, is to constantly be energetically in someone else's space. If you've ever had a partner say, I need my space, and you haven't even seen them for a long time, but they're still needing space from you, it's because you're energetically in their energetic field and you're constantly there and they don't need you. And there's also a possibility that you have a cord to them and they can just have access to your energy anytime they want. And so as you disconnect these cords and you exchange that energy back, what happens is they get a sense of space from you, which is awesome. And when you disconnect the cords, they no longer have access to your energy anymore. You're not on tap. You're not on tap. So, yeah. And then all of a sudden you get more energy for you and you just get this sense of well-being. So another interesting fact about all of this is when you're energetically corded to somebody, and they don't want to see you because your energy's already there and they have access to it, there's a tendency to feel anxiety or neediness. And where this comes from is you actually want access to your energy because it's in their space. And so it's not necessarily that you want to see them, but you want your energy back. And so the way the mind processes this is if I'm near them, I'll have more energy because you're going to be near your energy again. And so, um, again, it's releasing those attachments, taking back your energy, doing that energetic exchange, and all of a sudden you feel full and confident and not needy and not clingy because you don't need them. No person on the planet needs another person. Like, babies need moms, okay? But when you're an adult, um, you don't need another person for your energetic well-being. You have a connection to the divine, or you should. Um, the divine is always connected to you, but you don't always. It's not that you don't have access to it, it's that you're just not aware of the connection, or you're cutting it off because of your thoughts or whatever. But you always, always, always have the possibility of connecting to source and having access to infinite energy and infinite love, always, 24/7, every second of the day. You are a divine being, and you have, that's you. You can have access to that, and grounding into the earth as well. So you have infinite access to groundedness in your body and into the earth. So you don't need another person for that ever. But when you think you do, that's when you're attached. And that's when we have these cords and these karmic ties with other people that cause us to think, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to live without them. So what that looks like, I mentioned Jason Silva, and now I'm on like this consciousness tangent. But so when we're with a lover and we love them so much and we feel that divine connection with them and we feel that sense of oneness with all that is, and we decide that partner is the reason why we are feeling it, we take our connection to the divine and we attach it to that person. And it's like we intertwine our 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 connection to source with theirs. And so what this does is, it's interesting. So the good, I'll lay it all out for you, the good and bad. So that's the reason why it's so easy to connect up to source, because you're both using the same connection, and so it gets bigger and more vibrant, and you're just like, wow, this is great. However, it kind of gets distorted when you're constantly uses someone else's connection to source, and eventually they don't want you to use their connection. They would rather you have your own. And so again, have these experiences because they're amazing and wonderful and feel super great. Like drinking wine or anything else that alters your consciousness. But after, like even the next day, come back to your own. Come back to your own, because it's super important. It's super important to have that own connection, because your partner fell in love with you because of who you are and your connection and your specific frequency of being. And when you merge with another person, you become one, which is great. But then you want to separate again so you can explore each other all over again, which is really fun and wonderful. And they get to see you for the person that you are, and not just them and their energy. Because that gets boring for people. Because you're with another person because they're not you. You want to explore them because they're different and they have different thoughts and ideas and different tastes and different sensations, and so that's what you want to experience with another person. And if you take on so much of another person's energy, you start to become them, in energetic sensory ways. Um, that's why they say like couples start to look like each other after many years of being together. It's because their energetic frequencies are so similar, and they're merged for such a long time that they do start to look like one another. um, so just to keep things exciting and fresh and wonderful, you want to release those attachments and come back into your own self and your own state of being. Um, and the same goes for grounding as well. Sometimes people who are ungrounded um, will find a partner who is very solid, very grounded, and they will use that person to ground them and to make them feel safe and at home. And again, it takes on this addictive quality where you feel like you need that other person in order to feel grounded or to feel safe. And when they're not around, you don't have that. So it's really important to be able to connect, feel what that feels like, and then come back into your own state of being, your own groundedness, your own energy, your own connection to source. And yeah, and then have fun. Like have fun, be your own person. Um and that will supercharge your relationship and your relationships with everyone and all people, really, because you will have more of a resonance of the divine within you, because you're being more you. That's it. So that's my talk on attachment. If you'd like to know more about how to release attachments or how to do energetic exchanges, or you just need a little more help in general, I do sessions, and you can go to my website at unfoldinglove.com and yeah, set up a session with me. I'd love to talk to you, and I do it over Skype, so we can do it all over the world, no problem. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.